Alrighty, so hello there. My name is Samwise. I'm a Diamond 2 Protoss player. And what we have here is going to be one of my first ventures into solo casting. So I was given this replay by a player in my Discord for the CSO clan, Chaos Spec Ops. And this player typically plays Zerg. He's been playing around with switching to Terran, possibly. And this is a replay of that he gave me that he thought was pretty interesting. And his name is Rogue Pianist, so we will get right into it. Alright, so, oh yeah, because of the new seasons, this is on the old season, so it's on a different patch. I have to load that up. Of course, if you're interested in getting your own replay casted, go ahead and email that to samwisesc2@gmail.com, and I would be interested in checking it out. So here we go. In the bottom left-hand corner, the red Terran player playing for Clan Platinum Heroes. He is Rogue Pianist. And his opponent, the Zerg player in the upper right, using that classic hatchery skin, Delator. So Delator is opening it up pretty aggressive from what it looks like. He's taking both gases. Okay, so he's actually using it. He's doing the extractor trick. So just squeaking out a little bit of extra supply. You can see he's at 16 to 14 because the extractor takes a drone and you can cancel it to get that drone back, but it doesn't take supply while it's building. So that allows you to start up those 15th and 16th drones even when you don't have the overload. But now he's got the overload, so he starts up another drone, and he's just going to take his natural at that. It's kind of interesting seeing somebody do a double extractor trick just for a macro build. Over here on the other side we have Rogue Pianist. He has normal barracks gas. I'm assuming this gas came after the barracks, but I was watching the Zerg player, of course. He's sending a scout across the map. Good safe play by him. Okay, so now the actual gas and pool are coming down. And he's still going to take that double gas, so very interesting. Still going to go for a high gas composition. So Rogue Pianist, he's going to see that and maybe going to think there's going to be some kind of aggression, and he might be right. So we'll see what his reaction is to that. So he doesn't actually see the other gas. So kind of a not super ideal scouting by him. But we'll forgive him for that. He is taking his natural after the standard Reaper expand, and he has the orbital started up. So well done by him. Good at macro opening. Up here, Delator is banking a bit of gas. It's not even starting at lane speed, so curious what his plan is with all this gas. He's at almost 300 already, so definitely if he wants to make some kind of aggression happen, definitely going to be a possibility there. Factory is on the way for Rogue Pianist. Would expect to see another depot started up soon, and his second gas. So we'll see if he goes into that. He is banking a little bit of money right now, so he definitely could afford both of those. He does have worker production going in, so again, well done. Okay, so he does start another depot, but it's on the low ground. I'm not a huge fan of this because if there's a lane flood coming across, there's no wall finished up. Okay, so the Reaper's across the map. There's no lanes out for Delator yet, so his queens do finish up and just chase that away. So Delator, he didn't lose anything there. So no drones lost, so that's helpful. Would have been painful for sure. He's banking like 500 gas. Okay, so finally he starts up a lair, so we can see what his intentions are maybe going to be. On the other side of the map, Rogue Penis is making some Hellions, and he's got the starport on the way. He's making a tech lab on that barracks, so maybe going to go into some stim. More depots on the way on the low ground. Of course, still hasn't finished that wall off, so, but he is making Hellions, so that probably reduces the risk of dying to a link push a little bit. Link speed finally finishes for Delator, so we did get that link speed. The work production has stopped here for Rogue Penis, and he doesn't have an orbital on his natural, so I'm not a huge fan of that. He does have a third CC on the way, so it's looking like he wants to play a longer macro game, go into kind of an economic opening, which kind of then brings home the point for me that if he wants to go economic, I would really like him to take this orbital command in natural, and then keep making workers. Okay, so now he does that. So just a little bit delayed on that, so we won't be too hard on him there. On the other side of the map, we have double Evo and an infestation pit coming down for Delator. So we'll see what his intentions are for this, if he actually wants to go into some swarm host play. It's kind of a weird build by him because, again, he doesn't even have a third base, so it's like he's doing some sort of all-in for sure. His worker count, okay, so the worker counts are even on 28 apiece. And I believe this is probably Platinum League, because Rogue Pianist is a Diamond Zerg player, but again, this is off race, so its MMR is probably a little bit lower. I haven't checked specifically what his MMR is. So there's that third base from Delator. But if this is Platinum League, or if it's even lower, then we can fault a few minor macro mistakes. So we do have 1-1 on the way for Delator, so that's nice. Okay, so he's taking a quick hive. Very interesting, because he doesn't even have 1-1 yet. Like, I'm curious what his intentions are for this quick hive. He's taking his 3rd and 4th gases already. So again, going very gas heavy. He's only got like a handful of units, like 8 Zerglings is all he has, and he's going into lair. On the other side, we've got 8 Hellions for Rogue Pianist with a Banshee. Cloak is on the way, it's almost finishing up, and he's going for a second Banshee. So it's going hard into the Banshees. That 3rd CC it's going to be finishing at that orbital soon. Wow, and he's up to 10 Hellions, so going to be pushing really hard with those Hellions. Maybe try to roast drone line real quick if he can. I'm wondering if his plan is going to be to hit some multi-prone with the Banshees and the Hellions, so that you can maybe pull Queens out of position and get the Hellions in to roast you toasty. So he's going to take this 3rd real quick. We really haven't seen a lot of aggression from either player as yet. Again, this is probably Platinum League, so we won't expect them to play like pros by any means. But so we do have some links coming across the map now. They're going to poke at this 3rd base. We'll see how Rogue Pianist responds. You're going to have to lower these depots. Bring up, he does just lift it for now. Loses SCV. He's really got plenty. He could clean those lings up and take that 3rd. Okay, so he's just going to send the Banshee over for now. Worker count's still dead even. Rogue Pianist is ahead in supply, which is not great for Delator. As a Zerg player, you really generally want to be ahead because your units tend to be less cost efficient. However, he is already on hive tech, so he could be having more cost efficient. Okay, so he's going to go right into a fast ultra cavern, which I guess makes some sense because he's going for the melee upgrades, but also he has no units. So he's going to be going pure lean ultra, I guess, for now. Doesn't even have a Baneling nest. Really weird army comp, something I've never really seen before. Again, it's Platinum League, most likely. Have to verify the league after the game. Maybe post it in the comments or something. Okay, so Rogue Pianist is going to start up his upgrades. He's got 2 engineering. No, he's got 2 armories on the way and 1 engineering bay. Oh, I missed that. He's actually going for mech. That makes sense why he made all the Hellions then. So, yeah, I guess that makes sense. So he made all the Hellions and Banshees to go into mech. So with pure Hellion, of course he's going to be safe against any Ling All-In. And with the Banshees, it kind of makes him safer against a Roach All-In. So, I feel like where this is headed. Mech is a lot easier to play as Terran for sure. It tends to be a bit slower, though you can get the battle mech style, which the Hellions are building toward that. But he's not going into Cyclones right now. He's just going to go tanks behind this. He's got 3 factories and 2 more going to be finishing up, so not bad. 2 tech labs so far. Just pumping out those tanks for now. And again, he's ahead in workers and ahead in supply now, which mech being generally a more efficient army comp versus anything Zerg has, except for Swarm has. That's pretty good. 4th base is coming out here for Delator. He's about to have his adrenal glands. Sorry. And Rogue Penis, he's just going to go into those Hellbats. So looks like he's almost doing like a Vibe Bronze to GM type of build. So just starting with some Hellbats and then getting tanks behind us right now. The Vibe way would kind of be going to Thors, but neither here nor there. So he's going to actually go into that Neo Steel frame, the building armor, and then 1-1 for mech. And he does have an SCV stuck back here, so he can actually lower these depots and get that out, but don't know if he's noticed that at all. And it looks like these guys are also stuck and maybe can't get out. He would have to like make a medevac to get them out, which I don't know if that's worth it. He's making a couple more command centers, so 4th and 5th. Good macro, advance up to those higher base counts. So we do have Chitness plating on the way, along with 2-2 for Delator. And he's going to start right up into that anabolic synthesis, ultra speed. For his army, again, he has pure Ling Ultra, so he's got 5 Ultras now and 42 Lings. So it's completely melee, nothing ranged whatsoever, not super into this. He's going to start up his 3-3, so very healthy upgrade counts for Delator. He's way ahead of Rogue Penis in that regard, so that will help him a bit when it comes to the fights. But again, he's down 8 workers, which is never something you really want to see out of a Zerg. Looks like his injections are decent. He has some energy banked up in the natural. 3rd looks pretty good in terms of energy used. He's going to push out and maybe try to get some damage done. He's got an Overseer here, so nice addition here. These Lings are going to do absolutely nothing against all those Hellbats, I think. So he's just going to poke in with a few. They see this command center here. Okay, so now he's going to come in with everybody. If there's the Hellbats, a bunch. There's no blue flame, so that does help some. This is all going to die sooner or later. He's the Banshees. But in the meantime, we'll see what he gets done. Both of these Thors are going to go down the... I'm sorry, the Ultralists. The Thors do decent damage in the Banshees here. Okay, so... yeah, all this is going to get killed off. In the meantime... yeah, so that Ultralist goes down as well. And he's going to pull back with the last one. So, not bad. Units lost is slightly more efficient for Delator, actually. So, well done there. Looks like he picked off a lot of workers. This game doesn't have game heart because it was a ladder game. So, we don't get to see the exact number of workers that were killed. Looks like this depot's about to burn down. And boom. But again, we got this mech army comp, which is very efficient when it takes a straight on fight. Mech in the lower leagues is very frustrating to fight against. So Delator is going to make a Spire. So we're going to switch up his tech composition a little bit. He's going into matched Ultras now with this. I would love to see him take 1 or 2 macro hatcheries so he can pump out more Lings if he wants to go that route, since he is going with 3-3 and adrenal glands. I'm really curious to see how the Ultras stack up against the mech. He's going to go into mutas, which I'm really not a huge fan of because Thors wreck mutas. Of course, mutas are way faster, so if he has the micro, he can go around and harass these bases. And even looking at Rogue Pianist, so he has no muted defense, he has no turrets or anything, so actually this won't be bad. As long as it'll kind of depend on what his micro is like, excuse me. Okay, so Rogue Pianist does fix his saturation in main. He's getting that worker count back up, and he's actually caught up with Delator, so Delator's actually kind of lost that little bit of economy lead that he's gained, which is unfortunate. I would have liked to see him continue droning there, going into +1 flyer attack, and going into Corruptors, so we'll see what he wants to do with those. There's not really much in the sky to shoot, like, I guess he wants to shoot these Banshees, or maybe go into Broodlords, or just gunk on these bases. So 5th base is down here for Rogue Pianist and Delator's. Sorry, 4th base for Rogue Pianist and Delator is taking his bit. So good expansion times auto Delator. Zerg, you generally want to be a base ahead because, as I mentioned, your army tends to be less cost efficient. And kind of what I've been hearing from some of the procasting is if you can keep the Terran on like 4 bases, that's generally ideal, because once he gets to the 5th base, then that kind of gives him the economy to go into his late game armies, which for him, he's just going into the mech, which again, the mech is more cost efficient, so as the Zerg, you really need to contain him on a lower base count. Making a few more mutas now. I don't like this, that the mutas are just sitting with his army. If he's just gonna A-move with the army with the mutas, it's not gonna be much good. He's going into missile attack now, so getting the upgrades to be able to diversify his comp. And on the other side, we have Blue Flame. I like that a lot, and with 2-2 coming up. And we have 6 factories, 2 on the way, so it's going to be 8 factory mech. Nice macro of Rogue Pianist. Again, there was some small mistakes earlier on, but we won't fault him for that because he's primarily a Zerg player at the moment. So we have another push out coming out here for Delator. Nice big ultra count, which ultras are kind of clunky, so this many ultras is actually not going to work together that well. He's going to stop this base from landing and harass it with his Corruptors. Rogue Pianist is going to move out to contest this. So we're going to see a clash of the armies right here. So we'll see how this goes. All these Blue Flame Hellions are going to wreck the Zerglings. So we have a bunch of Zerglings dying. Okay, so there's still a healthy Zergling count, and most of the Hellions are dead. So this is starting to look a little bit better. All these Ultras getting this around. A bunch of them are dying now. Corruptors are picking off the Banshees. Okay, so I think the Ultras are... Well, there's still 5 left. So they do some decent damage, but they are all going to go down. That wasn't bad for the Ultras, honestly. Probably better than I expected. And they're actually... Okay, so the tanks are going to clean them up. So they're going to just barely get to clean up. And the Thor is just going to chase away these air units. Delator's not going to try to continue that fight. And he's way down in supply right now. He's only got 29 army supply to 53. And again, he's just behind in macro. He didn't drone up past that 6... Well, he went up to 67, but... He does have a 6th base here. But yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. Those 3-3 Ultras performed fairly well against mech. So if you're a Zerg in Diamond League or below, and you're laddering and you're finding mech to be a problem for you, going into 3-3 Ultras seems like could be something you could try. I'm not really sure myself how it performs. And then the problem is the upgrades. So I guess what you could do is start with like a Ling Bane Ravager, and then transition into Ultras from there. And the Ultras will just provide a little bit of extra meat and firepower to your army against the Thors and Hellbats. So I could see that. Rogue Pianist, he does have this 5th base down again. It's a little bit bruised, but And then he has a planetary out here on his 4th. And he's making 3 more CCs, so very nice out of him. Delator is just messing up. Okay, so he's going to push out again, see what he can get done. His army is, again, mostly Ling Ultra. Does have up to 7 mutas. Again, ideally, if you're making mutas at all against mech, I would love to see them harassing these mineral lines if he has the APM for it. That is something we can check. So these guys are playing with lower APM generally, so I guess it's fair to say that he wouldn't have the extra APM to harass his mineral lines. But at that point I would pretty much say I don't like the call of going mutas, because they kind of suck in a straight up fight, especially when it comes to fighting Thors. But the way he used them last fight was alright, like using them to stack some extra damage on the enemy army while the Ultralists are taking from the Thors, and then once the fight is lost, then he pulled back what was left. So that's alright. Maybe just adding a little bit of extra range damage, since all his melee units stack anyway, so he couldn't just add more Ultras. Okay, so we do have a Hellbat coming over here. It's actually they're move commanding past each other. But Delator's gonna see that now, I think. Looks like okay, yeah, he is gonna kind of chase this Hellbat, which is running for its life at this point. Mutas are gonna catch it. Okay, this is gonna be you don't want to run up this choke. You want to run around here for sure, maybe try to get a flank going. This choke is gonna be murder for these Ultras. So all these Thors are fighting, tanks are fighting. This is just an absolute massacre. So his supply does tank a bit, but he does pull back, so I like that judgment there to pull back and not let everything die. Let's check his macro here. He has a few workers sitting left over on gas, but other than that, I would say that his management has been pretty good. Again, just sitting on 66 drones. Okay, so he's going into more links. I would like to see possibly some Banelings, just to crash into those Hellbats, and then have the Banes behind. Okay, so he's going to go into the Baneling nest, even as I say it. Getting +2 missile and +2 flyer attack. Rogue Pianist decides he's ready to push out here, which makes sense because he's almost supply capped. He's making another Thor here. He's probably, I forget how much supply Thors are, but he probably thought he was supply capped because he can't make any more Thors. Okay, so now this engagement is going to happen. A lot of Lings are going to get toasted, but enough left to add some more damage in here. And again, these Ultralists tanking pretty well. 1, 2 die, 3 die, 4. Okay, so the rest are dying pretty quick. And they're all going to get massacred now. Don't know, the mutas I guess died too, so we're left to actually 0 unit count for the Delator. And Rogue Pianist still has 6 Thors and 2 tanks, so this is looking critical here for Delator. So Rogue Pianist is going to now go clean up some of these bases, while 9 Ultras are in production, so that's not a bad, like 9 Ultras should be able to clean this up. I'm not a huge fan of 9 Ultras just because that's like almost too many. They're going to stack not real well, unless you can create like a flank, which Delator has not been doing at all. He's gone up to 11 Ultras now, adding some Lings in. I like that. There's, I believe, was there still one Hell? No, there's no Hellbats, so that those Lings will actually be a nice addition here. He's going to lose this third or fourth base now. Nice, the broodlings actually causing some splash from tanks. So he's going to pull back and regroup. Lost a couple of those Ultras. Okay, so now he's going to push in when the tanks weren't siege. So this is a very nice catch here for Delator. He's going to clean this up really clean. It's bad, but clean this up really well. That tank does siege up, but it's going to get caught and killed. So nice cleanup from Delator. Nice. I don't know if I should say patience, waiting for that unsiege, but he did manage to catch the mech. He's just going to push right here into the guts, but there's already a bunch of Thor Hellbat reinforced there. They're going to push up, see if they can clean up this push over here, but in the meantime, there's another. Okay, this planetary fortress is going to make quick work of those guys. We'll see how these. There's still a few Hellbats in here, so these Zerglings are going to get toasted. And there's only 4 Ultras, so the Ultras are all going to get cleaned up by the rest of these Thors. So this is going to end here for Delator. See how Ultras are doing against the planetary. They're actually not doing bad. I would love to see Rogue Pianist pull to repair that, but it actually goes down. So nice catch there on Delator, killing that 4th base of Rogue Pianist. And also gets some SCVs. He's going to push in here with some more links, but they did clean up pretty fast, so he's going to pull back now, and I like that call. I just dislike that it seems like he's kind of F2ing, since that guy just got move commanded back through Rogue Pianist's army and got given up for free, which Ultras are a bit expensive, so I'm not a fan of that. But he's going to retake those bases that got killed, so I like that. And he's droning up again, which is good because he's down to 57 drones, pretty low drone count. Honestly, he could be taking this base and this base, because Rogue Pianist is pushing pretty slowly overall because he's got the mech army comp. Right now, like Delator, okay, so he's making some more units now, going to Baneling speed, but I still like this for Rogue Pianist at this point, even though he's not really behind expansions actually, because he's taken these, he's just not using them yet. Okay, so this is one thing I do dislike from his play, so he's not managing his workers properly. He does need to, okay, even as I say that, he finds them and doesn't move them. He can move even 14 of these SCVs over to one of these exterior bases. It looks like he's gonna get this base up and mining. So, that's something. He did land one of these LCCs there, so well done. He's gonna make a planetary here. Honestly, you could make planetaries at all of these, but he's not going to go there just yet. He's up to 10 factory, so nice healthy production count. And the supply really just kind of tells the tale that Delator is not remaxing as fast as he really needs to be. He does have a bank, so honestly he could be. Let's check his larva. He's got 24 larvae, so it seems like he's got, well, it should be plenty. He could have dropped, again, a macro hatch or 2. Would have liked to see that, but hasn't done that at this point. Okay, so he's going to push out now, but his lings are going to find his planetary. Rogue Pianist hasn't repaired this, so it is definitely vulnerable. Most of the lings are going to get cleaned up, but this planetary is going to go down, and possibly all these workers with it too, so nice catch by Delator. But now he's going to come up against this army of Rogue Pianists, which is way bigger, way stronger. Okay, he's going to pull back. Nice decision by him. So that was a great run by with the good pullback. But now Rogue Pianist, he's not maxed out, but it looks like he's going to go push out and see what he can do, which honestly, this army is just going to roll Delator. Not going to lie. But we'll see what happens. So he's going to push out on creep. Delator is adding some more ultras, some more mutas. Again, it's like he's already got 6 ultras. Like, how many more do you need? Apparently he has 5 more. He's going into Fire Carapace. Just finished it up actually. So he's got 2-1 for his flyers, 3-3 for his wings and ultras. I don't believe there's any Banelings on the field yet, which would be a nice addition to clean up some of these Hellbats. Okay, so that base does go down for Delator. And he's only got 5 bases, which some of them main mined out, natural's almost mined out. So he's only got 3 mining bases, and even those are starting to mine out. Okay, so the fight does go down. The Ultras are going to go first, so that's helpful for taking out the Hellbats. So now will be a really great time for him to remax lanes. And his Ultras are in amongst the tanks, so this is not so bad. But he's gonna get cleaned up there, so he's still making more Ultras. He's got a bunch of Banes here. Again, like, I wanted to see the Banes, but the Banes really need to go in first with the Ultras. Like, after the Ultras went in, cleaned up all the Hellbats, now it's like I really would prefer to see more Lings. Like, I would love to see him make... Like, okay, so what does he have? He has 20 Larva, 40 Zerglings, maybe 40 Zerglings wouldn't really. With 20 Larva, what would I like to see him make? I don't know, honestly. I guess Ultra Ling is about the best he's got against this particular army count. The Ultras are just getting massacred, though. Like, Ravagers is kind of the big thing that you would want against a mech like this, but I'm not sure if he has necessarily the micro to make that happen. Ravagers, so Biles, you can pick off tanks and potentially hit Thors too, which the Biles are going to do a ton of damage there. Okay, so now his Ultras are going to get on top of these 5 tanks, so he might be able to clean up all these tanks. No, the Hellbats are going to clean these up. So it was close by Delator to almost get the cleanup, but now he's remaxing on lanes, and now... Okay, so he's going to clean up this tank. The Hellbats are just going to roast and toast his lanes up. There is one Ultra, and I think that Ultra is actually going to get the cleanup, so... Well done by him. Good... I want to say good crisis management on Delator, but... I just don't see a whole lot of future out of him this game. Like, he doesn't really have a plan. He's kind of just, like, in survival mode, kind of, like, just massing more Lings and Ultras. Not even taking more bases. He's got one base that's mining out, one other base that's way oversaturated. He's got 56 workers. Rogue Pianist, he's got a healthy mining base here, a healthy mining base with a planetary, a base that's mining out. So Rogue Pianist has already mined out 4 bases, basically. So he's mined a lot more than Delator, I want to say. I'm not sure what the hotkey is for mining, but you can see he's banking a lot of minerals. Because he's going mech, he's spending a lot more gas. So now he's got a few workers idle. I'm gonna make another CC here. Looks like he's got a few CCs that aren't doing anything. There's one in the main base. You could be floating that to another base. You could also float his orbitals since they're completely mined out. Of course, that wouldn't be as good for a defensive position, but would let him get some more mining if he wanted to. But he's only on 55 SCVs, which I don't love that SCV count, but for this late in the game, it's probably decent. And since the Delator is playing with a lower drone count, it definitely works too. His base is a bit oversaturated, so you can definitely take... I would love to see him float a command center over here and then pull some SCVs over from here. Like, this is now way, way oversaturated, I think because he pulled from here. So maybe he's going to realize that now. Don't see that happening just yet. I'm not sure who's trying to build this geyser. I'm assuming it's a ship command. Actually, here's my guess. I'm guessing this guy's ship commanded onto that. And that's why it's taking so long. For Delator, well done, well done. He's finally taking this. He finally took this and has it saturated, so he's got 2 fully mining bases and 1 that's mining out. He's retaking this almost mining out one. So he's actually caught up with Rogue Pianist in terms of mining bases. Huh. No, this is cancelled. That's hilarious. So now he has this ship commanded on. I don't know, somebody's ship commanded on to making some command centers. I'm a Protoss player main, so I use a lot of shift commands, obviously, but for a Terran player, I would probably like to see a little bit less shift commands, like just command the SCVs to build them, and then shift command them onto some sort of resources somewhere, so they'll start mining when they're done. But whatever's shift commanded on this, like it's basically just tying up 400 minerals for him until that worker's done with whatever he was doing. So if you ever get a chance to watch that Rogue Pianist, it's just something you could think about. Okay, but he is taking more command centers. Again, okay, so now he's getting ready. He's floating this orbital over. So he's gonna, okay, he's pulling the workers. Well done, well done. I like this. So he's gonna get a third mining base up. Really, he can pull more workers from here to there though. Because this base is honestly already half mining out, and he hasn't even started mining from here. Except for the gas, which the gas is good, because he really needs gas right now. And he's gonna take these gases right away, that's nice. Supply-wise, Delator is really not getting his supply back up there, but he did take he's taking another mining base here, and he took both the gases, so he's trying to get his macro back in order. He's taking this base as well. So good expands for Delator. He's taking some bases to try to get his economy back up and running, since it was in shambles a bit from some of his pushes. Now Rogue Pianist is going to go for another push though, and Delator has 8 ultras and 30 lanes, so against these Hellbats he's going to get, shall we say, flattened, toasted, burned, fried, whatever adjective you like to use. Oh, I like this. So Rogue Pianist, now that he took that, what is it, 7th base? He's also going to float another orbital out here to this 8th base location. So we're going to go into a full split map scenario, sort of, except that we might not get there. Well, so yeah, we do have a split map scenario, I guess. It's just slightly lower worker count than what you would maybe expect to see in a pro game, at least until they're maxed out. Delator is going to hit first though. He's going to clean up this base, so that's nice. But there was only like 7 workers mining here, so he does clean up the gas mining and kill the CC, so that's nice. But it's going to be a little bit of a base trade, because Rogue Pianist is going to hit up here now, base for a base. Delator is going to come home. Honestly, I would love to see Delator just commit to a base trade, just push right up into the main. Problem is Terran buildings can float, so maybe just send like a pack of wings up there. Because the problem is, when he goes into the main engagement, he's going to get smashed. Okay, so 2 bases are down for Delator. Wings come in, but they're just getting annihilated by the tanks. 1 tank gets killed off there. Some ultras are engaging, but they're going to get killed off by Thors. A bunch more ultras are streaming around. They're all attacking from one angle, once again, something I really don't like. It's going to push in here. Thors are pulling back. They're going to try to go back to the tanks, I guess. And there's really a strong tank count here for Rogue Pianist. So he's got 12 tanks. Enough to smash anything pretty good. Except he's fighting against melee units, which is like the best case against tanks, I guess. But still, that's just gross. All those ultras getting smashed pretty quick. And ultras are like what you would think of as one of the toughest Zerg units. Ultras push in again. Tanks siege up. And the ultras get smashed once again. The space is going to go down. I believe we're getting towards the twilight of this game, folks. It's been a long... Okay, GG is called. And that is the game. So, yeah, quite an interesting game there. So, from Rogue Pianist, we had pretty much just a good standard macro mech play. Kind of a vibe style. Well, not exactly vibe, I guess, because... So, for Rogue Pianist, I guess what I would like to see... So the mech is obviously a good army comp, as we saw there. What I would love to see from Rogue Pianist is just maybe make a little bit higher worker count. So he had a good worker count at some points of that game. Now I think he might have had low 70s. But for like a vibe style, you can actually go up to maybe about 82 would be the target drone SCV count. So go up to 82 SCVs, and then he did have like 10 factories, so that's really good. Maybe you could add even a few more, like 15, 20 factories once he gets like once he's building up a huge bank, and then continue expanding, which he did towards the end. But honestly, he was a little bit slow on that, so he took 4 bases pretty well, and then he was sitting there for a while, which isn't terrible, but you could definitely put some of those extra CCs out there and make planetaries, and then especially if you're going up to that 80 SCV count, you'll find you'll be needing those bases pretty quick. And then I think if he had done those things to get to get 80 SCVs and then all of the bases mining with 15 to 20 factories, then I think it probably would have been a faster game. Like he'd be able to quickly remax on this Hellbat Thor tank combination, and then from there you can just kind of push over and over again. And as we saw there, like usually when he would push, like Delator would just barely clean him up every time up until the end. It was honestly not as the fights weren't as gross for most of the pushes as I kind of expected. Like Ultras actually do decent against Thors. It's something I haven't really seen before too much because I don't go Ultras like ever. Which maybe I should. Maybe I should add in more Ultras when I play Zerg. But so it actually did better than I kind of expected. But it was never like super efficient from Delator. Like the Thor Hellbat definitely was fine. I'm very curious. Oh, yes, let's do this. Let's return to game and look at the resources lost. Okay, so yes, the mech was more cost efficient over time. But, and the tanks, once you got off the 12 tank count, that's pretty brutal. So, mech as Zerg is just really hard to deal with. And I think that's honestly, like, I saw Rogue Pianist talking about it in our Discord some, like, that's one of the reasons why he's been playing some Terran, is because he gets frustrated playing against mech as Zerg, which I completely understand. I get frustrated as well. Um, and as Terran, you can kind of play on ladder and see if there's a Zerg that knows how to deal with it that can maybe teach him. It's something that I've done a little bit, but I think is a great way to go. And I think he's also been toying around with the idea of just switching to Terran as his main race. So I guess the question then for Zerg would be how do you deal with this? Which I believe the theory would be, so there's a couple ways that I think you're supposed to be able to. The first one is to kind of go Lingbane Ravager. So again, because this army comp is so slow. So theoretically Ravagers are really good against this, because Biles are just going to do massive damage. Problem is, Ravagers still kind of get shredded by the tanks depending on how you engage, so you have to be really careful there, and you have to micro throw the Biles down, kind of whittle this army comp down. But I think if you go Lingbane Ravager, then ultimately your goal is basically to, like I was talking about at the beginning, kind of contain him on 4 bases. Like, make sure he doesn't get this, make sure he doesn't get this, like keep pushing those if he tries to expand. And same here. And then, because he's got a mech army comp, his army's really slow. So even if you could like split up into a couple of different control groups, hit here, pull back when his army moves over, and hit over here, like just pick him apart. The planetaries definitely make it a little bit more difficult. You'll need Ravagers or Banes to kind of bust through those potentially. But I think those moves would possibly be powerful, but again, that requires a bit of multitasking. That's a little bit challenging to pull off. The Ultras seem like they performed okay. Maybe Ultra Ravager later in the game when you have more resources. And then the other thing that's supposed to be like a counter is go into Vipers and then kind of pick this army apart by abducting a couple units, like 1 or 2 units at a time. Abduct a Thor, kill abduct a Thor, and kind of keep doing that. You can do that with Hydras or Ravagers or even Lurkers. And I think lurkers are considered not as good versus Terran though, because as long as the Terran keeps scanning, tanks will just make a mess of lurkers. But if you keep your distance and use the abducts, you might be able to do that. The only problem is that is really challenging micro, because the Thors are going to rip apart the Vipers. You have to be really careful. You probably want to command the abduct and then like maybe shift click the Vipers away so they run immediately after the abduct, like get out of there as fast as they possibly can. So that's kind of one way that you can deal with it, by hopefully being more cost efficient than the mech, which that's like almost never going to happen. The mech is, that's like the thing with mech. It's like the most cost efficient composition. So that's why mech players tend to win. That's why Zerg players get really frustrated playing against mech, and why I completely don't blame them. And so the other thing that you could do to deal with this is you could also go into like 10, 12 swarm hosts, because since this is so slow, the swarm hosts, the fact that they will keep regenerating their locusts kind of becomes more effective. And locusts tend to be really good against tanks in general, especially if the locusts drop down in the midst of the units, then tanks will be doing tons of splash damage and they'll help you out. But one challenge with that is these Hellbats actually are kind of a natural counter to the locusts, because locusts are light, the Hellbats will clean them up a lot faster. So that's a potential issue. If you could drop the Locust directly on tanks, that would definitely could potentially be effective, or you could use the Locust to harass while he's doing his pushes. So you could use that. Like, I kind of mentioned this in game. I would almost see like base trading against somebody with mech, possibly. Like the planetaries make it tough, but again, the mech army is just so slow. Like, run a bunch of lings up in the main base and just camp production. When you're camping the Terran's production, it really makes it life difficult for him. So if you run a bunch of lings up into here, maybe even force, either kill all his buildings or force the lift-offs. If he's lifted off, he can't make anything. So his production's going to be dead. Then at that point, you can run Ultras in, you can run Banes in, like just suicide stuff in and keep remaking it, and eventually you would potentially win the game. This is all theory because I've never done this. Like, I struggle with mech a lot myself as Zerg. The mech player I was struggling against, he would make Banshees, and the games would kind of happen kind of too fast for what I'm talking about. Like, they were never this long and drawn out like this game. I would be really curious to play against Rogue Pianists. Like maybe I should actually, it would be interesting to actually ask him for a show match, and then I could maybe cast this on YouTube, where I play Zerg and he plays his Terran, to see kind of, maybe try some of the strategies I'm talking about and see if I would actually be able to pick him apart with his a little bit slower mech style. So that would be interesting. But anyway, that's all just food for thought. And that's the game. So if you watch this, I hope you enjoyed it, and you can hit the subscribe button if you want. I'm pretty new to this stuff. I'm new to actually producing content, is what I mean. I've been trying to get into Twitch streaming a little bit, but my computer hates life when it comes to streaming, so right now I'm going to try this YouTube stuff as an alternative, so we'll kind of see how it goes. But if you feel like it, you can subscribe, just in case, like, if you want to see when I post new content. Mostly I'm planning on doing casting, but maybe I'll do some ladder videos. So we'll kind of see how that goes. And definitely, if you enjoyed it, you can like this video. If you don't mind, obviously it doesn't cost you anything. So, but no pressure, because I'm not like trying to become a big content creator by any means as of yet. But hope you enjoyed the video and have a good one.